Let's unlock the mystery of meditation's role in trauma recovery. This morning's lesson is drawn from a social media question from an intelligent, good-hearted individual. And they wrote, I am noticing that I'm a bit controlling in my life. So right off the bat, our controlling tendencies are a lot like ninjas. Their stealth is their strength. And just by becoming aware of the presence of our controlling tendencies is a huge benefit. Let's continue. And I have been trying to be in total control of my inner experience and so we're going from generalized to specific to more specific, and that's great. Of my inner experience. So there was a time a few decades ago when I was very excited about being what I considered myself to be a metaphysical stud, able to use all kinds of arcane practices to control my experience. And so, as you might imagine, I had a lot of unlearning to do. Let us continue. To be in total control of my inner experience and my cortical response. So our cortical response is a very fancy way of describing our trauma response, our response to real trauma, our response to past trauma, our response to anticipated trauma, a response to a combination of both the imagined and the recalled. That's called a confabulation, and it's probably a winning answer in Scrabble. Let's continue. In my attempt to control my cortisol, I imagined being disrespected vividly for about 5 minutes. And the hormones started to reach my hands and feet, ready for battle. And the battle was dealing with my old roommate. I was trying to get my cortisol to dissipate by the end of the dealing, by the end of the encounter. So I activated 15 minutes before I planned to see him and only planned to see him for another 15 minutes. The last time I had a cortical response to him, I timed it and came up with 30 minutes until the cortisol dissipated. Lo and behold, the trick worked, but the shit of it was the old roommate wasn't even there when I went back. So I really have to applaud this individual's there's a really good word here. Someone that's fastidiousness. The fastidiousness and the logic of this person. This person is a born scientist. This is laudable. The enthusiasm this person has to grow and evolve is just chef's kiss. However, the trick of it is that upon the Buddha's Eightfold Path, our job is not to control our outward circumstances, nor is our job to control our inward response to our circumstances. Now, there are lots of boneheads out there who will either sincerely or deceitfully try to convince you that your visceral response is an indictment, but they are grossly incorrect. Our job is not to control a response, but to observe our response and to make peace with the presence of the response. So if the response is a rapid heartbeat or like your body's geared up to flee or fight, the very fact that you notice those sensations is a victory. Every time we relax into our exhalation, I'm going to rephrase this. Every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we are accessing the parasympathetic nervous system that makes possible both physical relaxation as well as mental release. Just breathing, just noticing what's going on and then exhaling makes the indulgence of that fear and aggression an impossibility. Now, if you hold your breath, it's very, very easy to fall into the swoon, to fall into the momentum of that aggression and anxiety, but to notice it in harmony with our inhalation and our exhalation gives us sort of like a bubble of safety. It's like being in a really good shark cage. No matter how often the sharks bump the cage, regardless of how scary it is, you are safe. So the act of exhaling prevents the indulgence of those impulses. In time, we come to feel, not believe, not choose, but feel. So whatever trauma response comes, we let it come. However long it stays, we let it stay. And when it goes, we let it go. We don't chase it off. We don't beg for it to stay longer. We make peace with the present moment and the fact that the present moment is always changing, often unpredictably. The good-hearted person continues. So I did this rigid, fearful, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel job for him and learned a lot about control. Well done. I need to not do it. Be well, my friend. I will try to be more yin than yang with your help. And you are always welcome to my help. So let us, all of us who are enthusiastic to master the Buddha's path, will have the epiphany that sometimes we can be controlling with our controlling tendencies. And so sometimes we're trying to be controlling with our trauma response. Sometimes we're trying to be controlling with our controlling tendencies, which is deliciously ironic. It's a wonderful, your enthusiasm, once again, is beautiful. But all of us have faced that paradox. When we feel our controlling tendencies, there's a twofold response. Notice it as you breathe in, relax and release as you breathe out. That does not mean it's going to chase away our controlling impulses. They are hardwired into us. They benefit us. The question is not whether or not they are there, but whether or not they are controlling our choices or our utterances or our deeds. The very fact that it's possible when these impulses are present yet do not control us, then we have mastered them. Psst, hey kid, do you want to hear a secret? The reason this journey is so fun is we always have a project to work on, even after we've mastered the Eightfold Path. And this reminds me of a line that I'm going to butcher from Men in Black, the first one that came out in the late 90s, probably around 97-ish. And it goes like this. There was always an interstellar plague or Corellian death ray threatening to wipe out life on this planet as we know it. Or to go further back in time to the 1970s, Rosanna. So if it's always one thing or another. So there's always going to be something to stimulate our controlling tendencies. And that just makes the journey more interesting. This puts me in remembrance of the 14th passage of the final meditation manual attributed to Dzogchen Trul Rinpoche of Tibet. Please chant with me. All talk is like an echo, said the Buddhas. But these days it is more like the re-echo of an echo. What the echoes say and what they mean are not the same. So do not take in any notice of these insidious echo words. What kid on a family trip hasn't stood before a rocky canyon and played with echoes. Hello, hello. And one notices that with each reverberation, the echo grows fainter and less distinct. Similarly, when we notice in harmony with our inhalation, things could feel very sharp and crisp and clear. But as we relax into our exhalation, they feel less so, including our reactions to them. So we might perceive something and we might experience a reaction to it, perhaps a trauma response, and then we might begin to feel our controlling tendency. The more we notice that controlling tendency, the duller and softer it gets. Now, it might form a curve. So it might get a little bit sharper first, but then it will pass its high point and it'll grow duller and quieter and blurrier, and it'll fade. Spend enough time in meditation and you'll see that pattern repeated over and over and over again. Perception, release, perception, release, perception, release. Life will still happen. Water's still wet, fire's still hot, cruelty still hurts, but you're able to be less neurotically enslaved to it. So I've mentioned mindfulness, I mentioned meditation with broad brush strokes. I'm not trying to keep secrets, I'm just trying to speak in an efficient manner. Once we start this morning's formal practice, we're going to be going into minutia and how to make that happen. And I look forward to chanting and explaining and meditating with you after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I spent more than 8 hours a day, every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each sect of Buddhism so that you would not have to. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. So Dzogchen is just a Tibetan word, one of the many Tibetan words for meditation. Known in Sanskrit as Avalokiteshvara, Chenrezig can translate into English as kind gaze. And I found it to be more useful not to think of Chenrezig as a real entity, a celestial entity to whom we bow and scrape and make offerings and make prayers, but instead as simply an archetype, reminding us of our own potential to master the path of love and letting go. For the entirety of this morning's practice, we're going to flip and flop between mantra meditation and silent meditation, back and forth like the pendulum of a grandfather clock. Therefore, it makes perfect sense to begin our practice by reviewing the mantra's meaning. Please chant with me. Om I invoke Leswish Evening Morning Jewel, and letting goes purifying, pay me lotus, whom may all beings master this path. Our first practice is known in Tibet as Lama Kyeno, which could translate into English as calling the teacher as if from afar. Let us not take this literally, but figuratively, as a form of energy work that makes possible the practice of bliss and letting go, which in turn is known by many names, including completion stage tantra, Bindu Mahamudra, Anu Yoga, and Tikle, which could translate literally as drop, and figuratively as which is also short for the phrase channels, winds, and drops, or if you prefer Sanskrit, Nadi, Prana, and Bindu. Let us take a moment to consider this graphic. This brass statue is reminiscent of our enlightened potential, our ability to master compassion, love, sympathetic joy, and balance. Above this statue's head, we see two red entities sporting a tantric union. This reminds us literally of the teachings and figuratively of the sensations of real or imagined energy coalescing at the crown of our head. During our inhalation, we can silently and mentally recite this italic phrase. It's not our job to visualize or believe or emote. It's simply enough to play with these words and let the subconscious do the heavy lifting. What are we then going to do during our exhalation? We're going to physically relax as best we can while striving to chant these 12 syllables 4 times per breath. Together, let's practice. Om mani bemi yung, 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 om mani bemi yung. Om mani bemi yung, 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 om mani bemi yung. Om mani bemi yung, 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 om mani bemi yung. Over the next 4 silent exercises, we're going to climb the 4 steps standing between us and the mastery of mindfulness and meditation. And like the 2 training wheels upon a child's bike, we're going to begin with something which is clunky but effective. Well, let us consider mindfulness. Every time we inhale, whether we mean to or not, we automatically and effortlessly access our sympathetic nervous system, ensconced not within the 3-pound supercomputer between our ears. It is found in the thoracic region of our spinal cord. It has not evolved to support either extreme of mind blinking or concentrating, but instead it merely helps us to merely notice and to do so vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. This vulnerability we are reminded of this vulnerability graphically by the nudity of this archetype of meditation, which is described in Sanskrit as Samantabhadra, Samantabhadri, Karma Mudra. So, if we're not supposed to concentrate on our breath, what are we supposed to do with it? Well, we treat our breath the same way a child treats a metronome when they are studying the piano. When we feel ourselves breathing in, we could silently and mentally recite perceiving this very turbulent play of mind in harmony with the teachings of Tukul Tandap. And as we exhale, we could silently and mentally recite relaxing into mind's non-graspable nature in harmony with the teachings of Jagdud Tukul. Together as a team, let's practice. During the remainder of this morning's live stream, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or how to apply them, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. We turn now to the outer preliminary practices known in Tibet as Ngondro. During our inhalation, we're going to silently and mentally recite the wish, may I see others stress. For doing so lays the foundation of empathy. During our exhalation, let's physically relax as best we can, whilst we strive to chant these 12 syllables 4 times per breath. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. We silently and mentally recite, may my love help all beings, because on the path of yang, we use interdependence to coerce ourselves with fear, but on the path of yin, we look at the same interdependence as an opportunity to beneficially affect others' lives, lightening their loads. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Silently and mentally, we could recite, seeing change fuels release, remembering us that impermanence, we do not, that rather than use the yang strategy of using impermanence to frighten us, instead we use impermanence to free us from the tyranny of hating and craving and clinging. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Breathing in, we can silently and mentally recite, make the most of each chance, for as our choices and utterances and deeds flow from the effortless effort of love's centered spontaneity, we will find ourselves effortlessly seizing upon opportunities to love and to let go, much in the footsteps of this archetype. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Having chanted the mantra 32 repetitions, we now prepare to rest in mindfulness and meditation. Let us take a deeper look at meditation. Every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, whether we mean to or not, we access the parasympathetic nervous system, ensconced within the lower lumbar region and the tippy top of a cervical region of that same spinal cord. It evolved to support both our physical relaxation as well as our mental release. Let's take this a step further. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever traumatic memory or fantasy or confabulation we might have noticed during our inhalation could feel less graspable. Now let's sprinkle some figurative language on this. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever traumatic recall, imagination, or confabulation we might experience during our inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as a vast, empty void. Now, a simile is only as poignant as it is relatable. So, what is a real-world example of a non-graspable, vast, empty void? How about the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although is tantalizing to the eye, is intangible to the hand? Perhaps that is why this archetype of meditation known in Tibet as Kuntu Zangpo, Kuntu Zangmo, Yabium, is depicted as made of light, translucent, and as non-graspable as a rainbow. Let us practice physical mindfulness during our inhalation by silently and mentally reciting sitting tall, reminding our body to generate a vertical traction between our tush and our head. During our exhalation, let's silently and mentally recite relaxing. Returning to mantra meditation, we embark upon the journey of the inner preliminary practices, or ngondro. We do so not from a literalist yang point of view, but from a figurative yin point of view. Let us consider the late Tibetan saint Za Paltrul Rinpoche. As a young man, he wrote a very, very literal meditation text known as the Words of My Perfect Teacher. However, after a lifetime of study, teaching, and practice, he wrote his final meditation manual. Was not rigid, fearful, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. Au contraire. It, like he, had evolved to be flexible, loving, laid back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. So in the spirit of bodhicitta, the conventional mindset of enlightenment, we can find ourselves longing to free all beings everywhere from the tyranny of the three mental poisons of hating and craving and clinging. Oh my. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Well, that's a pretty tall order. One of the things that can help us to accomplish this goal is to simply rely on the Buddha's example and instructions and students, which are as effective, metaphorically speaking, as three wish-fulfilling jewels, not unlike Aladdin's lamp. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Rather than squandering time and energy minimizing, rationalizing, and fatalizing our mistakes, wouldn't it be more strategic to simply learn from them? Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. There is no joy or peace upon the path of being a selfish miser. Instead, how much better would it be to share all our stuff with all others? Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Having chanted the mantra 32 repetitions, let us rest in mindfulness and meditation. One of the many fringe benefits is that the blood that collected around our anxious and aggressive amygdala is freed to collect or coalesce around our anterior cingulate gyrus, just a few centimeters behind our forehead, which functions as the seat of empathy. It has been said that the highest love is spontaneous and uncontrived, the fruit of mindfulness and meditation. Perhaps that is why this archetype of enlightenment, known in English as the all-good father and all-good mother sporting in tantric union, are depicted as beautiful. During our perceptive inhalation, let us silently and mentally recite, "Notice this." And during our releasing exhalation, let us silently and mentally recite, "Relaxing." We now could practice Guru Yoga, known in Tibet as Lama Najor. It is additional energy work to help us practice even more bliss and letting go. As we breathe in, let us silently and mentally recite, Lama, come to this heart. Om Mani Bimi Yung, 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 Om Mani Bimi Yung. Om Mani Bimi Yung, 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 Om Mani Bimi Yung. Om Mani Bimi Yung, 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 Om Mani Bimi Yung. Om Mani Bimi Yung, 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 Om Mani Bimi Yung. Let us remove the second of two metaphoric training wheels. As we gaze upon this archetype of meditation, the gal, the color of a cumulus cloud, is observed actively sporting in tantric union, reminding us that spontaneity trumps contrivance. Her partner is seen passively savoring tantric union, reminding us that the highest spontaneity is not scattered but instead centered. When our choices, utterances, and deeds flow from the effortless effort of love's centered spontaneity, our life could be as blissful as a Buddha's real or imagined paradise, or Pure Land, or Vati, or as that which is depicted in the artwork of Maxfield Parrish. During our perceptive inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this. During our releasing exhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease, which functions as a synonym of relax. Having ascended to contemplative cruising altitude, together as a team, let us meditate as transformatively as Obi-Wan Kenobi upon the sands of Tatooine under the guidance of the Force Ghost of Qui-Gon Jinn. let us bring the experience of the 4 bases of mindfulness: the circumstantial, the physical, the interpersonal, and the mental, into the conventional path of love and letting go, where it is love that is emphasized. This is known by many names, including generation or creation stage, Tantra Mahamudra, Mahayoga, or Tokal, which translates into leaping over jealousy and pride. During our inhalation, we're going to silently and mentally recite a very cryptic, loving wish that is explained in great detail in the chant we perform just prior to the mantra. May all minds of all beings now be as peacefully wise as the mind of a Buddha of law, symbolized by a tikle, one syllable seed or bija mantra. So it's not our job to believe in Buddhas or believe in things that symbolize their minds. It's not our job to actively visualize or emote or work magic. It's simply our job to play with these loving intentions during our inhalations. Doing so strengthens our experience of empathy. So during our inhalation, we silently and mentally recite this loving wish. During our exhalation, we physically relax as best we can while striving to chant these 12 syllables 4 times per breath. Om mani bimi yung, 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 om mani bimi yung. Let's chant. May all relationships of all beings now be as joyfully loving as a real or imagined Buddhist communication symbolized by the 6-syllable mantra. Om mani bimi yung, 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 om mani bimi yung. May all bodies of all beings now enjoy the beautiful health depicted in Buddhist thought of the blissful body of a Devi or Yadam of lore and archetype of enlightenment such as Chenrezig. Om mani bimi yung, 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 om mani bimi yung. May all circumstances or lots of all beings now have the good fortune or boon as a Buddha's real or imagined paradise, pure land of Valti. Om mani bimi yung, 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 om mani bimi yung. Having chanted the mantra 32 times, let us rest. Let us watch the play of mind and relax into its non-graspable nature. Let us bring the experience of the four bases of mindfulness into the ultimate path of love and letting go, where it is letting go that is emphasized and where we leap over our self-grasping pride. As we inhale, we can notice all minds, perceptions, emotions, intentions, cognitions, recollections, and imaginings quite clearly. Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable of what is a real or imagined beaches eternal of light. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we inhale, the interpersonal experience of communication or speech could sound quite resounding. Yet as we relax into our exhalation, it could feel as non-graspable of what is a real or imagined mantra of light. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we inhale, our bodies, our forms can feel quite sensual. Yet as we relax, our exhalation could feel as non-graspable Take two. Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable of what is a real or imagined octopodium of light. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we inhale, all thoughts or circumstances could appear quite vivid. Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable of what is a real or imagined paradise or vati of light. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Having recited the mantra 32 times, we could watch the play of mind as silently and mentally we recite this, and we could relax into mind's non-graspable nature as silently and mentally we recite ease. Let us bring the illusion of the horizontal duality of us and them into the dance of impermanence and interdependence known as the yoga of inconceivability. So during our inhalation, we're going to silently and mentally recite something that only makes sense. It's rather cryptic and figurative, and it only makes sense because of the bit that we chant beforehand. All circumstances, all lost good bliss for the end, impermanently melt into rainbow light that interdependently absorbs into this body or form. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. All forms of bodies, good bliss for the end, and permanently melt into rainbow light that interdependently absorbs into this communicational speech. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. And so the trick is, as we exhale, we physically relax as best we can while striving to chant these 12 syllables 4 times per breath. All interpersonal speech, good bliss for the end, impermanently melt into rainbow light that interdependently absorbs into this mind. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. All man's good bliss for the end, impermanently melt into rainbow light that interdependently absorbs into our vast empty void. Like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which although tantalizing to the eye could be non-graspable to the hand. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Why is this meditational archetype known as All Good One? Not because they are gods we're supposed to worship. They are archetypes. Because we are all good. In Zen Master Dogen, when Zen Master Dogen wrote that Zazen is enlightenment, and when Prahe Vajra wrote that we are already enlightened, those two statements were metaphoric. Metaphoric for the same idea, that we already have the neurological hardware required for mindfulness, for meditation, and for empathy. All we have to do is get out of our own way. Our 3-pound supercomputer between our ears can get in our way unless we give it something to do, something that by doing it aligns intentionally with the fundamental wiring of our autonomic nervous system. What is that thing we give it to do? Simply this. To silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during each inhalation, and to silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during each exhalation. Let us drag the five aggregates, kicking and screaming, into the path of awareness and letting go, which is known by many names, including Dzogchen's great completion stage Tantra, Sutra Mahamudra, Ati Yoga, or Treksho, which translates into slicing through the duality of dread and desire. In this context, form is a synonym for body. Relaxing into the awareness of this form. Om mani mimi yung, om mani mimi yung. Oopsie. Om mani mimi yung, om mani mimi yung. 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 Oopsie. Relaxing into this feeling of pleasure or pain or neither. Om mani mimi yung, om mani mimi yung. 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 Relaxing into the appraisal of the intensity or degree or volume, if you will, of the pleasure or pain. Om mani mimi yung, om mani mimi yung. 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 Relaxing into this survival impulse to either shove or reach or cling. Om mani mimi yung, om mani mimi yung. 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 Relaxing into this awareness. Awareness of perception, emotion, intention, thought, memory, and imagination. If our perceptions, emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings were islands, awareness would be the ocean in which they sit. Om mani mimi yung, om mani mimi yung. 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 Having chanted the mantra 40 times, we rest. And so we watch the play of mind and relax into its non-graspable nature. Let us transcend the illusion of samsara and nirvana's vertical duality by metaphorically inviting all the real or imagined Buddhas, their paradises, and their denizens to dwell in the 84,000 pores of our skin, thus practicing the body mandala of duality's awareness and non-duality's release. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Let us bring the 5 body regions into the path of awareness and letting go. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever lower abdomen we might have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable as Amako City's green syllable ah. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever navel region we might have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable as Ratnasambhava's syllable trom comprised of gold light. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever chest we might have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable as Akshobia's syllable hum comprised only of blue light. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever throat we might have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable as Amitabha's three comprised only of red light. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever crown or scalp we might have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable as Varochana's Om comprised only of white light. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Having chanted the mantra 40 times, let us watch the play of mind as silently and mentally we recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation. And let us relax into the non-graspable nature of mind as silently and mentally we recite the one-syllable verb ease during each exhalation. Let us bring the 5 mental poisons into the path of awareness and letting go. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever jealousy we might have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable as all-accomplishing wisdom. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever pride we might have noticed during our inhalation can begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable as equalizing wisdom. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever hatred you might have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable as mirror-like wisdom. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever greed we might have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable as discerning wisdom. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever confusion we might have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable as all-pervasive wisdom. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Having chanted the mantra 40 times, let us rest into awareness and acquiescence. Let us bring the 5 perceptions into the paths of awareness and letting go. Let us relax into the awareness of these scents. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Let us relax into the awareness of flavor. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Let us relax into the awareness of sensation. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Let us relax into the awareness of sound. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Let us relax into the awareness of sight. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Let us bring the 5 thoughts into the path of awareness and letting go. Let us relax into the awareness of emotion. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Let us relax into the awareness of intention. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Let us relax into the awareness of cognition. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Remember, as we chant the mantra, we strive to relax as we chant the mantra 4 times per breath. Let us relax into the awareness of recollection. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Let us relax into the awareness of imagining. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Let us drag the spontaneous play of mind, kicking and screaming into the path of awareness and letting go. Om mani me me yung, 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 om mani me me yung. Om mani me me yung, 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 om mani me me yung. Om mani me me yung, 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 om mani me me yung. Om mani me me yung, 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 om mani me me yung. Let us seal this practice with the love that wishes for the universal mastery of Buddha's Eightfold Path. May all master letting go and love as well as master communication, conduct, and calmness. May all master the effortless effort of love-centered spontaneity, as well as master mindfulness and meditation. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 10 and a quarter hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.